Dealing with trauma. You are more than your story. Thank you for tuning in again for another video about trauma, dealing with trauma. This time I would like to mention and to remind all of us that you are much larger than the story. If you even think not yet about a trauma, just about a day in your life that something happened, somebody shouted at you and you didn't know how to set boundaries, and your mind after the event continued to run it over and over again. You started to think about what could you say differently, why did it happen. You are focusing, you found yourself focused on the event, on what happened, and you might invest quite a lot of energy just to fix it, to change it, to go back and talk about it, to talk with yourself about it, even maybe to go to therapy or to sessions just to solve it within yourself. Why didn't I manage to set my boundaries when I needed? Now this is about something that happens now when you're an adult in a day that might have looked a beautiful day, and still your brain focused on the event that was problematic, that was difficult. Now if you think about a trauma in your life, you can double it, multiply it in such a larger way. When we suffered from a trauma in our past, where may it be in your childhood or recently, the event, the period of time, the story becomes so big. It's kind of I don't want to say it's lose proportions, because if it's a real trauma, yeah, it's big, it's important, it's something that you cannot just avoid or brush away, but your brain focuses on that. And part of the process of healing, or part of the process of dealing with the trauma, is how do we manage to remember that you are way larger than the story. It's not only what happened to you, and it's not only that part that would define your life. Or let's say differently, when that story defines your life, you feel that you are really limited. You feel that you are failing to become a part of the society as you want it to be. And in a way, a big part of how you can find yourself reaching back to your strength is find ways to enlarge the story and to remember that you are larger, that more things happened, and that your life, all of your life, has so much more meaning than this kind of topic. Now, let's say when I'm giving sessions to clients, when I'm giving Pantarei sessions, or what I'm teaching to our students, it will always be to start with a bigger picture. When somebody comes to a session, if you would come to one of us for a session, you might want to start and talk about your problem, the reason you sought help, your reason you looked for support. And I would ask you, give me a moment, one moment before you start telling me about all of your difficulties and everything that is happening in your life that you are not happy with. Let's start by an introduction. Let me know some things about you. Tell me who you are. Tell me what you love. Tell me what you are passionate about. Tell me something of what interests you in your life. Maybe tell me about your family, about your own journey in life that brought you to that moment where you came and asked for help. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because I believe, and I see it again and again, that it's only when we connect to a much larger picture, we can also connect to our difficult story from a different place, from a place of strength, and maybe even more than strength, from a place of control. I want to lead my life. I would like you to lead your life. And in order to do that, you need to notice what your story is all about, what your life is all about. And when you focus only on your trauma, or when your trauma is the one that is behind the wheel, this is the one that drives the car, this is the one that tells you where to go, you turn to the same places, you're going to the same corners, you find yourself in the same dead ends and places you don't want to be in. When you enlarge your perception, when you remember maybe even just who you were before those events, even if we're talking about your childhood, what do you remember about your childhood? What did you like to play, or where did you like to play? Who were your friends? What did you love? I'm sure that even if you went through very painful events in your life, you also loved, and you were also loved, whether it was by people or by the trees or by your dog. It doesn't really matter, but you have in you, in your heart, in your spirit, in your soul, the knowledge of who you are, about your own qualities, your own character, the things that makes you move, the things that motivates you. And when you want to deal with your trauma, you have to also remember those things. I would even say, I think that the times of healing, if we at all talk in terms of healing, if it's something to heal from, that's already is a bigger and maybe a different question for a different video. But when you are looking at the healthy relationships that I would suggest that you would have to the story you had in your life, a healthy attitude, at least in the way I see it, is when you can perceive your life, you remember who you are, you remember your unique qualities, you remember that you are way more than any event in your life, and at the same time you can remember what happened. You can talk about it, you can tell it to another person. Of course, make sure that you are telling it to people you trust, people that would never use your story to to put you down or to show you your weakness, people that would respect you, people that in a way love you. When you tell your story to a person of your choice, you want to be able to perceive it as part of what shaped you, not only of what shaped you into those corners that you don't like to reach, but also what shaped your set of values, what shaped your unique calling into this life. Maybe it shaped your purpose. And if you manage to have that pain, those, horrified stories of your past, but at the same time, respectfully noticing who you are, I think that then you're already on a road to deal maybe with any challenge. Also the challenges that are still awaits for you, for all of us in our future. When we relate to our past, we always have to remember also our future. And if we would like to create a future of our choice, yes, we need to own our story, we need to remember it, we need to tell our story, but at the same time, we need to connect to who we are, to our strengths, qualities, abilities, skill, and to what makes our life to be the unique journey that we are on, this unique journey that we are walking on. So when I'm asking you to tell me or tell anyone or tell yourself or relate to your own traumatic story, whether it will be of loss or abuse, whether it will be something that happened to you in groups or something that happened between you and yourself, whatever you relate to as traumatic in your life, Remember to start from a larger point of view. Remember to try to connect to what is it that you consider to be yourself. And it cannot just be your story. It cannot just be the painful event or painful events that happened to you. I'll be very happy and curious to hear where this meets you. How do you relate to the larger part of your story? And maybe you have many other tools or ideas of how do you connect to the larger story? How do you remember that whatever happened in your life, even if everything in you wants to focus on that and to hypnotize about those moments in your life, what helps you to remember that there is way more that identified your character, identified your life? Thank you for listening, and I'll definitely come back with more about this topic of dealing with our traumas.